Hello, hello, hello. So these are practice for extra problems for the test tomorrow. So what you should do is pause the video, try to attempt the first question, see if that matches my answer, and then move on to the next question. Pause the video before I go over the answer to check your work. First question is telling me that Hiram raises earthworms, compost 4x4, and he can hold 1,000 earthworms. What if he increases it by 28 to 28? So first to figure out what the perimeter ratio is. The perimeter ratio here would be 4 over 28, would be equal to 1/7. So now I want to look for my area ratio, because when you're talking about holding 1,000 earthworms, that's in the whole area of the 4x4 compost. So my area ratio would be 1 over 49. And I can fit 1,000, that's really disgusting in my mind, earthworms in there, but if you're a compost person, I guess you really like it. Cross multiply and you get 49,000 earthworms. Yummy. I guess that's going to be some really nice soil. So now you should pause the video and try to do the next problem by yourself. If you can't really see what these numbers are, this right here, angle is 60 degrees. And I'm asking what is the length of AB, leave in pi unit. Pause the video, attempt it by yourself. Pi units would be 60 over 360, because AB here is just this length right here, so it's my smaller angle, times 2 times my radius here is 12 pi. So I want you to leave it in pi units, so you just multiply those three together, and your answer would be 4 pi meters. It's a length, so it's not squared. Next one, find the measure of DAC. So if you can't see what these numbers are, this one's 27, this one is 103, this one is 50, this one's 35. So if I'm going to see what length DAC is, make sure you go in that order. Remember, D to A to C. I'm looking for this arc. Measure, not length. Length would be using that formula. Measure is just adding up all those angles together. So I have to add up all these 4 angles, and if I do that, that'd be 215 degrees. Next one, what's the area of the shaded region? This is 8, and this one is 120. So using that formula, area of a sector, which is on your yellow sheet, so it would be 120 over 360, that's in our formula, times my radius, which is 8 squared pi. It says round to the nearest tenth, so I'm going to multiply all of those three together. Remember, if you use 3.14 instead of pi, your answer might be a little different than mine. But if I'm rounding to the nearest tenth, I would have to make sure to write down that 0.0, because that would round it, or leave it at the 0 mark. Next one. 14-inch diameter pizza is cut into 8 slices. First thing I would do, because I can be kind of a visual person, is draw out this piece of pizza and actually cut it into 8 slices. So now I'm cutting into 8 slices. There should be one point in the middle. I want to just figure out what this one pizza is. So first I have to figure out what that angle is, and I have 360 for my whole circle, and there's 8 slices, so that angle right there is 45 degrees. I'm looking for area. So it's going to be 45 over 360 times, says my diameter is 14, so then that means my radius is 7 squared pi. If I plug that into my calculator, I get 19 inches squared, to the nearest square inch. Here again, I would try to attempt the problem by yourself first. This right here says 12 inches. That is my diameter. And it's asking what's the probability of lining in the shaded region. So pause the video, try it by yourself. Again, if you know me, you know I like pictures, and I usually draw out the pictures in which I'm finding the formula for. So here for my triangle, if I found the area of my triangle first, remember triangle is equal to 1/2 base times height. Now if my diameter is 12, that means my radius is 6. This is 90 degrees, so this would be considered my base, and this is considered my height. So if I want to find the area of that triangle, it's 1/2 times my base is 12, my height is 6, put that in my calculator, I get 36. Look at the area of my circle. again, my radius here is 6. Area of circle is radius squared pi, which would be 113.1. So then, my probability is your intended outcome, which is the 36, that's the shaded part, over your total. My total is my largest shape that I see there, that's the circle. So if I put that into my calculator, I get 32%. Stoplight. Whoop, whoop, whoop. I'm going to draw a picture here. I'm going to say 60 seconds for red, and then it's 45 seconds for green, and then it's 15 seconds for yellow. And it's asking, what's the probability that the light is green when you go through the stoplight? Well, first I have to figure out my total. Remember, the bottom number in any probability is your total. My total here is all those added together, which is 120. And then my intended outcome would be if it's green. Well, if it's green, that lasts for 45 seconds. So I could either reduce my fraction, 3/8, or if I plug into my calculator, it'd be about 37.5%. Next one, can't tell, this one says 30, whoopsie daisy. This one says 32 and this one says 44. And it's asking what's the area of the larger trapezoid. So first I'm going to figure out what my perimeter ratio is. 32 over 44, which would be 8/11. Once I have my perimeter ratio, I need to figure out my area ratio. Now if you don't reduce your perimeter ratio, that's fine. You should still get the same answer as me. So now my area ratio, just joking, I forgot a 2 right there. My area ratio now can be set equal to, I'm giving you the smaller, so that should be across from my smaller ratio. And it's asking what's the area of my larger. Cross, multiply, and divide, and it says to the nearest whole number, so it'd be 1,915 meters squared. Next one, if you can't see, well, it does tell you that it's 6 inches. It's asking how far does this travel. So it's saying from here to here. How far does it travel? From here to here. How far does it travel? So it's basically asking, here's my angle. What's the length of this arc? So that's arc length. My angle would be 90 out of 360. My formula for arc length is the measurement over 360 times 2 times my radius times pi. And it says, well, it doesn't actually say to leave it in pi units or which one. Pi units, I multiply those three together and I get 3 pi inches. Or I could multiply all three of them together and I'll get 9.42 inches. Again, it's not squared because of the fact that it's not area. Last one's finding the area of the shaded region. Kind of hard to see in mine, but maybe you can see it on yours. This one's 30 feet. So I'm going to draw my picture of my sector. I'm going to draw my picture of my triangle. And I'm going to draw the picture of the segment. Because remember, it's the sector minus the triangle equals my segment. So my sector then would be equal to 90 over 360, because that's my angle that's given right here, times my radius squared pi. If I put that into my calculator, I'll get 706.86. Now you could have rounded differently, so if your answer is a little bit different than mine, that's okay. Triangle is equal to 1/2 times radius times sine of your angle, which would be equal to 450. And now if I subtract those two numbers, I would get 256.86 feet squared. And the last one, a circular dartboard has a radius of 5. So if I draw this in, it's saying basically it has this right here would be considered 5. And it also says the diameter would be 18. So I'm going to draw my pictures, because you know I like pictures. I'm going to label that one my small, that one my large. So my area of my small one would be radius squared pi. The area of my larger one would be radius squared pi. Remember, the diameter was 18, so that means half the diameter is 9. So I plug those two into my calculator. 78.5 on top, because this is my intended outcome. On top is my intended outcome, that's the shaded region, over the area of the whole shebang. So 254.47, because this is your total, your largest shape that you see there. And if I plug that in, I would get 31%. Please email me if you have any questions regarding this video, or if you make sure to come in before school if you want to go over a thing before the test. Have a great, grand, wonderful, spectacular day.